ABC Radio Melbourne traffic.
Good morning, it's Brad Arnold from the Department of
For breakfast, I like to start with wheat bix, full cream milk usually, and if I can't get that, I'll get physical, but I prefer the full cream.
And if you're heading Turnabout from the Pascoval Road Turnabout entry ramp to the MOD Ring Road, there's been a collision, left lane closed on that ramp. Drive with caution past the scene. And there's a broken down truck inbound on the Tullamarine Freeway. It's been there right through.
I've had a few kidney problems. My doctor put me on 1.2 litres of fluid intake a day, and I said I use 700 ml for me breakfast with me wheat bix and me coffee. He said have a smaller coffee. I said you've put me off beer, I'm not going off coffee. Don't tell him that I haven't given beer up either, I'll be in strife. Although he probably knows with me blood tests.
Emergency services. If you're getting on the public transport, a few cancellations to look out for. One for the Cranbourne, Glen Waverley and Lilydale train lines. Check out the PTV app for details.
I love me toast. I have the multi-grain Helgas with the pumpkin seed and 7 other grains or something, and I cover it in butter. I usually get the Western Star soft spread. Got to have butter. I'm from a dairy country environment, and you've got to look after the dairy farmers, so I'm not a margarine person at all. I don't like my eggs hard, so I'll make them sort of so they've got a runny yolk. I prefer poached because they're the easiest and easiest to clean up. But I don't like my eggs hard, so I'll make them sort of so they've got a runny yolk. Mop it up with the grain bread, and I just love that.
Greg in Beaumaris says, I've been notified by Vic Roads that my driver's licence was exposed in the Optus hack, but I've heard nothing from Optus. I wonder whether you've been in a similar situation.
On the mobility scooter, I've had a number of accidents. Cars have hit me. I've hit cars. I've been head-on by electric bikes that are on footpaths. I don't know what they're doing on footpaths, but they hit me head-on and they got no control. I don't know what they're doing. They're doing about 30 kilometres an hour. Sometimes my steering goes and I'll go into me brick wall, or I'll slide off the wooden ramp into me corner post or something like that. But I do damage, yeah. I flip it a few times because it's not too keen on slopes, then it just falls over. They're top heavy. But other than that, I stay pretty upright. I don't really have a nickname for my mobility scooter as such. Other people probably do. When I've nearly run them down in the street, they'd have names for it. But I sort of just call it me truck. With the mobility scooter, you always have your normal problems, like problems with steering and new tyres, and had to replace the motor a couple of times. I've run out of battery power only once, and it was close to home, so it was a short push. I always make sure now that it's charged every day. I go to the Stingo Hotel mainly because they've always got the races on and we can listen to the races instead of having booming music going the whole time. I always used to go to the Carringbush Hotel, but that was sold and they took away all the Carlton products, so I wish them all the best. Haven't been back there even though my nephew works there, but I go to a lot of the pubs around the area. The Retreat, the park sometimes for a feed, although it's gone off a little bit lately. So, yeah, I go to a lot of pubs. You go to a pub to drink tap beer, Carlton Draft on tap, not stubbies. Boutique beers doesn't really suit my likes at all, so I prefer the Carlton products.
There might be a run shortly, and Coconutsu laid out wide, 200 to go. Disputed River has company left, right and centre, in particular Coconutsu.
Horse racing I've loved since I was probably in secondary school. I've been interested all my life. I've owned horses myself, had some success but not much. They do cost you money, but I love them. And the interest in them is, it's beyond punting, it's just a real love of them. The apps I use, number one would be my TAB account, 2 would be Facebook, Google all the time, I'm always Googling something. I like all sports. I used to participate, but now I don't, but I do enjoy watching them. AFL football, volleyball, the swimming, not so much the T20 cricket, but test matches and so forth.
Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday dear Crayfish, happy birthday to you, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la.
Don't be so stupid. My acquaintances at the Stingo ends up a pretty big little family. There's nothing better in Abbotsford than on a sunny day. You've got the river, you've got the parks, you've got the birds. You see the people around the area using the parks for picnics and for exercising their kids on the playground equipment and so forth. My street now, there's a family of little terrorists that when I go on me walks, they set up a roadblock with a cake stall, and it cost me $3 a day to get past. I'd have to buy a chocolate and a cake to get past. And it just makes your day. The trees and that attract the birds, even though the plane trees nearly kill me during the spring and the summer with the hay fever and the seeds that float around the air, but that's beside the point. I love Abbotsford. It's a beautiful suburb. It's a very long story how I got my nickname. It goes back to the early 70s when it was politically incorrect, and we'd had a few beers and we had a game of pool at the Duke of Kent Hotel in the city, and it was the Aussie Diggers versus the Wogs. And I was the captain of the Aussie Diggers. We're on the black ball, and I potted the black ball. The white balls jumped onto the rail, ran along and rolled off the table, so we lost the game. And one of my mates just said to me, "You're absolutely useless. You're like a crayfish." And I said, "What's that supposed to mean?" And he said, "All the good meat in the arse and all the shit in the head." So that's been my nickname for 50 odd years.